Questions and skepticism are being raised after the FBI revealed new information on a sexual misconduct investigation into Justice Brett Kavanaugh before his confirmation to the Supreme Court. In a letter sent to two Democratic senators, the agency says that it received more than 4,500 tips on the then judge, in 2018. However, only the most, quote, relevant ones were sent to the Trump White House, and it's not clear what happened after that. Kavanaugh has repeatedly denied allegations of sexual misconduct. CBS News has reached out to the FBI for comment, but we have not heard back. So Jan Wolfe has been following this story for us. He joins us here. He is a legal affairs correspondent for Reuters. So let's dig into this. Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse raised some concerns about the FBI's conduct in March. What new information and questions has this letter exposed?
Hi, good morning. So you'll recall there was an FBI investigation into Justice Kavanaugh when he was named for the court in 2018. And Democrats in Congress have long felt that it seemed too limited in scope, too condensed in its timeline. So in their oversight role, they've been demanding answers. And they got some recently. The news here is this June 30th letter the FBI sent to Senators Whitehouse and Coons that explained a bit about what went down. And so what's really jumped out at people is this fact that the FBI got more than 4,000 tips to a tip line they created, but didn't really say much about what, if anything, they did with this information. And so these Democrats in the Senate say this really confirms their worst suspicions that this was, a political sham investigation. I think it's worth pointing out that the FBI was not doing a criminal investigation where they typically have much more freedom and independence from the executive branch. They were doing a background check, so the parameters were set by the White House. So, for people upset about this, I would say some of your ire should be directed at the Trump White House and the people involved in this process there.
So just remind us about how this process works. Is a tip line typically something that the FBI does under these circumstances? And how does the FBI handle investigations like this?
Right. So the tip line is something that it was really unprecedented. That much we know. It's in the letter that these lawmakers received from an FBI official. This was a really, unique circumstance. One thing we know is this was not a typical FBI investigation where, they make a point of being very independent from the executive branch. The parameters of this were set by the Trump White House. We know that they talked to 10 people. And we know at the time that, Dr. Ford, Kavanaugh's accuser who got so much national attention, said that she had people who could, back up her allegations who weren't spoken to.
Do we have any proof, or is it strictly suspicion that politics played a role in here, that there was some sort of influence?
Well, we know the FBI director has testified previously that the process here was a typical one. The Democratic senators leading this effort, Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island, Senator Coons of Delaware, and others, they think that even when you consider the constraints put on the FBI by the Trump White House, the FBI fell down on its job, and it didn't take this nearly seriously.
That's very interesting. Have we heard from lawyers for Justice Kavanaugh or perhaps from Dr. Ford or anyone representing her in regards to these new revelations?
We have Dr. Ford's legal team release a statement. They're furious about what went down here. One thing they said is they think there should have been a criminal referral within the FBI, and that would have allowed the agency to do a more thorough investigation. We heard from them. The FBI hasn't really spoken about this publicly, but we know from Director Wray's past testimony to Congress that, his view is that the FBI may be a convenient fall guy here, a scapegoat, but to the extent people are upset about this, they should consider that the FBI was doing a background check investigation, that's typically just going to be much more limited and condensed in its time frame. It's not going to draw conclusions, but just lay out findings. I do think that for people who think Justice Kavanaugh is not fit to serve on the court, their frustration ultimately should fall on former President Trump, the people in his White House who led this effort, and ultimately the Senate Republicans who continued to back Justice Kavanaugh and felt that this investigation allowed them to vote differently.
And just very quickly, just to make it clear, have we heard from Justice Kavanaugh or anyone representing him in regards to this latest revelation?
No, we haven't, which isn't all that surprising. A Supreme Court justice is typically going to be pretty tight-lipped. We at Reuters reached out to Beth Wilkinson, the high-profile D.C. lawyer who represented Justice Kavanaugh in his confirmation battle, and we didn't hear that.
All right. Wolfe, thank you so much.
Thank you.